Welcome to the Janine Bolin Show, where we share tips from around the globe as we guide practical people with their finances using money tips, increase their incomes through side businesses, and maintain their sanity by staying in their creative zone.
Hello and welcome to the show. You may or may not know that the Janine Bolin Show is a syndicated program of 4 podcast shows that were combined. When our podcast programming syndicated in October of 2021, my team and I, Janine Bolin, merged all 4 podcasts into one program for you. And up to that point, we had been running 4 separate podcasts called The 3-Minute Money Tips, The Thriving Solopreneur, The Writer's Hour, Creative Conversations, and The Practical Mystic Show. So today we will be highlighting one of the 99 authors that I will be interviewing this year to receive not only their guidance, but their ideas and the perspective on the best ways to market and promote your book to get your message, your story, your particular memoir out into the world. Now, many of you have been told that you should write a book about your life experience. Well, these 99 authors that I'm interviewing over the course of this year were prompted to write their stories as well, and they succeeded. Each one will tell you what got them going writing, but then each one will also share with you what worked with selling their books, what didn't work, things they wish they had known before they became the prolific published authors that they are now. Now, you're going to gain unique book marketing ideas, selling strategies, and promotional plans that will effectively market your novel and your book and become a best-selling author in the real world and online. So today, we are lucky to have Dr. Doreen Downing. She is a psychologist and a public speaking anxiety expert. With her 7-step guide to fearless speaking, she helps people find their voice so that they can literally change their life. She offers individual and group coaching. She hosts her own podcast, which I have been lucky enough to be a guest on. And you can find videos filled with public speaking tips on her YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Doreen.
Thank you, Janine. It's always so much fun to have conversations with you.
I thoroughly enjoy it. And one of the things that I'd like to kick off right off the bat is, do you write under your full name or do you have a pen name?
I am now Doreen Downing, and I write under my full name currently, but that's only been in the last, let's say, 3 years. And before that, I was Doreen Hamilton, and that used to be what I would write under, that name.
Right. And that is one of the things I love talking to authors about, because whether you're a fictional author or nonfiction, there's always that moment. Do I write under my real name or do I write under a pen name? And in some people's case, like yourself, you actually changed names during the whole writing process. So you have a book that's out, and I think you were telling me earlier, it's Essential Speaking, the 7-Step Guide to Finding Your Voice. But now you're writing a whole new book under Dr. Doreen Downing. And tell us what the book title is that you're writing now.
Well, I have changed steps to secrets. So I am calling it the 7 Secrets to Essential Speaking. Find your voice, change your life. The essence of what I talk about is speaking from the core essence, finding that power within, the strength within, as opposed to being a better public speaker. It's just being a natural you, no matter where you go, and having a voice.
So when you first published under Doreen Hamilton and you had your first book, would you change the decision that you had of writing under Doreen Hamilton, or are you perfectly happy with the way things have worked out that, just keep, as you change your name, just keep changing the book title and publish again under a different name?
Oh, that was such a challenge. I thought all I had to do was change my name, and just that's all I had to do. No. So in fact, I did not want to continue having a book out with my old name and then be promoting myself with my new name. So I decided that I had to face the challenge of whatever it would take to redo my book. So I made a new cover, a new title to go along with my new name, and a lot of new interior in the book also.
Right, because we as authors, we're always expanding on our knowledge base. And so you and I were talking about that earlier about, oh yeah, there's a lot of new content in there. I've learned how to do things with more efficiency and clarity. And so you're bringing that to your reader as well. That's what's so awesome about it. So tell us, did you have a marketing background before you started writing your first book?
Not at all.
Most of us are like, no clue.
Definitely. I got a PhD in psychology at the University of California, Berkeley. No way did I ever learn anything about, business, writing, marketing, nothing. I just got really good and skilled at sitting in my office, meeting people and helping them be more of who they can be. That was it.
Right. And so what most surprised you about the book marketing process?
I think that, initially the book marketing process, I had my book. I didn't even have a website. This was 2009. And I just said, what do I do now? So I figured at the time, I need to do a website. So that's how I started, was saying, well, to get this book out, I need to have it on the internet somewhere. And then, of course, going to bookstores, just literally knock, knock, hello. But, and then I think the other thing about marketing for me early on was that making connections with other people that might help me promote it. So those were, I think, I just didn't know about marketing. I still am learning today as I start to think about marketing, and I have so many more ideas, so many more resources. And I know exactly what I need now, which I didn't. I was totally in the dark.
Well, I love the way you did that, because you're leading me right into the next question, which was, what would you change marketing your book today? We'd love to hear that. What would you change? What is it that you would focus on today, considering that we have a whole plethora of new authors coming on board with us?
I know what I need now. I need something like a book mentor or a book marketing mentor, and some way of laying out a program, a launch program, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Certainly I learned a lot before. So I know on my website, I'm going to have to change my book page. I'm now a publisher. I'm publishing myself. So I've got a website on Larkspur Publishing Company. So I've learned a lot, but I still feel like today what I am looking for is somebody who's traversed that whole process and can guide me.
And I think that's something that a lot of people aren't aware of, that what will really save you money in the long term is to connect with someone and then really ask them a lot of questions about their book marketing strategy. Make sure that this book coach or this book mentor is mentoring you along a path that you want to walk. Because there are specialties, whether you're a fictional author and you happen to write in the science fiction fantasy genre, you're going to need a very different book marketing expert than a nonfiction author like yourself, who has credentials behind your name. But hey, that's with me sitting in a room one-on-one with people, helping them learn to find their voice, right? So that kind of runs us into this of, what process did you try and it totally worked, you sold the most books? I like to ask each author, what worked for you where you were surprised that it sold so many books?
Well, for the last several years until COVID, I was doing workshops in person. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, but I've traveled to Europe to do workshops and all over the country and in Canada. So the best way for me, I just felt so good to have a product that I could sell. And also what I did was, at the end of my workshop, if anybody would give me a testimonial, they would get the book for free.
That's a great way to build now, isn't it? I mean, that's what we're always looking for, testimonials. And this is one of my favorite questions, because this is the one people like to hide under the rug. What process did you try that was an epic failure in selling your books? I always like to know what didn't work, so I don't make that, similar path.
I wanted to do an audio book because, I don't know, I guess at the time that was starting to be something that people were moving towards. I could not figure it out. I tried to read it myself and I got kind of tired. My voice wasn't really, I couldn't read the book, so I had to give up. And the kind of automated people, I guess that the AI that reads it, I said, oh no, that sounds terrible. Then I tried out a few voice specialists, the voiceover people, and I just couldn't find anybody that resonated with my sense of what the product and what I'm promoting for for people. So I never did it, but this time I would like to learn how, not myself to read it, but I know that there are so many resources out there now.
Yeah, it's totally changed from when you started in 2009. I was publishing in 2005. And yes, the landscape today is totally different from what we started with. And I actually love it. To me, it's a lot easier than what we had before. So what is the story that you tell about yourself that kind of gets the most laughs when you did your workshops and that sort of thing?
It's actually irony. And so it's a different kind of laugh. It isn't a funny ha-ha, but oh my gosh, I can understand that moment. And it has to do with me being a psychologist for a number of years, sitting in my office, feeling like I had achieved and was actually successful. And I had done some research, and they asked me, a conference on psychology asked me to present my research. And I said, no, I can't speak in public. I'm too afraid. So in that moment, the conference organizer said, but doctor, isn't fear your business? And so I would say
isn't fear your business. Oh my goodness, man, talk about getting that right back in your face. That happened to me a lot. Yes.
So I would say, people would kind of go, oh my, it was kind of a shocking laugh, but an irony as opposed to tickled your funny bone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But isn't fear your business? Oh my goodness. I can just hear it. I can just hear it when somebody comes right back around you and go, well, Janine, isn't money your business? That would be what I would get. So what I love hearing is, what was the biggest change that you've seen in yourself since you started marketing your book?
Authority.
Really? Authority?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me a little bit more. Tell me more about that.
I know what I know, and I have used it in workshops all over the world. I have also worked privately with many, many, many people, and I also do groups here locally, or I used to locally before the pandemic. But I would say that there's a sense of it's more than confidence. It's just a deep knowing, because actually, like we just talked about, I had to confront my own fear of speaking, and I found a way. So I am teaching that way, that path, and that's what the 7 secrets are. It's not about the traditional approach to public speaking. It's about going the other direction rather than the looking good and being a good performer. It's about finding who you really are, finding the voice within and speaking from there. So I think that kind of certainty of the path I've traveled and how I can teach others and guide others. So authority feels like the strongest thing that I've done with the book.
And what are the top 5 tips that you would give authors about selling their books today?
Get a mentor, number 1. Right.
Right.
Well, actually, before getting to that stage, making just something like what I just said, that it is really your truth, that you really believe in yourself and believe the path that you've been on, and you have a passion to share it. So I would say that's, why write a book unless, well, there are a lot of reasons too about the why, but of course I'm talking about self-help. I'm not talking about fiction or sci-fi or something like that. So for me, at least in my genre, the self-help, make sure that this is your story. You know the path, and you have the right to tell it to people, or at least offer it as an option to people. So then get a mentor. And I work with people who write books, but then get afraid to go out and speak about it. So I guess the third would be make sure that you have the ability to communicate to people about what you've written, and that anxiety of speaking in public isn't standing in the way. And I could help with that. That's I've worked with many authors that have avoided this getting out into the world and starting to talk about their book. And now we could do it on video and Zoom and, making videos for your website. And two more things. Launch party. I've been to a couple, and one was you were promoting it, and those are fun. And I want to have a launch party. I'm still planning it, and then last I would say I like giving sample. On my website I have a free sample that people could download, so it gives them a taste of the book. So I would say that's a good tip to somehow offer a sample of what you've written.
And whether you're a fiction author or a nonfiction author, you have so much content that never made it into the book. I mean, I know this about you, my dear listener, that there is stuff that you have written that never made it into the book. I know that you've done character sketches for your for your fictional authors. You have character sketches of maybe your favorite detective or your favorite villain. You have whole segments that never, ever made it into the book. And so you want to make sure that you use those as downloadables, or you can use those as a way to promote it. So that's one of those things I like to remind people. Look, all those things that you think were garbage that you have in a file that goes never to see the light of day, pull those out, because believe it or not, your readers want to see that sample. So thank you for that, Dr. Doreen. So tell me, what was the one thing you misunderstood about becoming an author? I mean, I like to ask authors this, like, what was the one thing that you had in your head and it was totally inaccurate when you became an author?
Well, I think my story has to do with the struggle it was for me to write my dissertation. Oh. My doctoral dissertation, and it was teeth pulling, one tooth at a time for me. And there was a little bit of, I don't know, what I took with me into my business is that my sense of writing was too academic, I think. And, what I'm talking about is finding your voice. So how do I do that in writing? So I think the most challenging thing for me was that I don't consider myself a writer as such, because years of doing academic, I think kind of did a little damage. So I've had to work hard to free my my writing voice, you might say, and learn to listen to her. And I would say, actually, in terms of the writing, that was the challenge. As far as the marketing, I think way back then, it was just not knowing who I could ask for help.
I totally agree on that one. And finding your voice, which is now your business, right? This is all about finding your voice. That's one of the things I love working with some authors, is being able to watch their writing improve and get better and better as they move out of that academic high school writing style and actually start writing like they talk. And when you start seeing that, it's like, oh, angels sing or something. It's great. Last question before we go today. What is the primary thing that has been the biggest reward for you at being an author?
Two things. One is the connection to my truth and being able to have an anchor, like a book that holds that truth. And what I said earlier about authority, but the containment of my beliefs and my journey and my experience, that's one. And the second, I would say, is I could reach so many more people. Being a psychologist in my office, knock, knock, one person at a time. But now, being able to get my message to, internationally, it's globally, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Right now I have a group, and I have somebody from London, somebody from Southern California, somebody from East Coast. It's just like the ability to bring people together around one struggle, the same struggle that they have, and be able to offer hope.
And that is lovely when you can do that. So say somebody wants to get a hold of you, where do you recommend people connect with you?
My website's probably the easiest, essentialspeaking.com.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Doreen. It was lovely having you.
Thank you, Janine.
And this is Janine Bolin signing off with you today. All of us here at the 8 Gates that produce the Janine Bolin Show wish you a wonderful week, and we encourage you to utilize these strategies and plans to get your message, your story, or your knowledge out into the world in some way. Make it a better place, just like these authors are doing for the next generation of authors that are coming along behind them. We'll see you again next week. And until then, you keep sharing what you know with others. Keep shining that light that is essentially you. And don't forget to go out today and do something fun for yourself. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to The Janine Bolin Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show notes by going to thejanинebolinshow.com, where you'll find additional resources as well as the opportunity to sign up to receive our program in your email each week. Be sure to visit our sponsor at the8gates.com.